It's such a weird profession to be in, right? Like your goal, your job is to literally get people to like you and give you money because of it, right? That's literally your end goal. Is like, you like me? Cool, $5, please.
All right. So a lot of news over the last week. We saw a ton of streamers get copy strike. DCMA hit them with suspensions essentially, or warnings for using music on stream. This has been a staple in streaming since its inception. So it was a kind of a shock to everybody. We've had scares in the past, but it just seems more serious this time. So a lot of people are kind of worried. It's been all over Twitter. If you guys have Twitter, you guys are like paying attention. You guys probably seen your favorite streamer tweet about it, saying that it's just kind of it sucks right now. Because, you know, we all have our favorite music that we enjoy to listen to and we want to share with our viewers, and the record companies are essentially taking that away from us. It's not Twitch. It's not Twitch's fault. You know, it's always been a rule. It's been in the system. We've all seen it. We just kind of ignored it because it wasn't that big of a deal. We never got slapped on the wrist, etc. So, yeah, it's just kind of crappy. You know, I think Kay and I both have tried listening to some of the copyright-free music, and it's just not the same.
No, yeah, it's definitely not the same. I mean, everybody has their own taste, right? It's really hard to find your taste in music non-copyrighted. Even if you pay for, like, we'll go in, there's some paid options you could do. There are some pretty decent free options. We'll go into those too. But it's tough to find the same thing. And a lot of that I think just comes from familiarity. You know what I mean? Like songs, you tie songs in your brain in certain spots that remind you of certain things. And you don't get that with all brand new stuff, right? Like it's different. It's not usually the same type of music, and that's the same voices and tones. You know what I mean? Like you hear a song like, oh, that's so-and-so. I know that band, just, you know, a few chords in. But back to what Ryno was saying, this is not I got into an argument on Twitter. It's so dumb. Somebody saying that this was literally Twitch's way, Amazon's way of funneling you into their ecosystem, right? Because there's an extension built into Twitch, an Amazon Music extension that you can use, that will allow you to play music via the extension, not through your channel, right? So if you use this, you have to mute the audio going onto your stream. You can't broadcast on your stream, but if anybody else has Amazon Prime and Amazon Music, they can also listen to the music. Cool for people with Amazon Prime. If somebody's in your channel though and doesn't have Amazon Prime, they hear nothing, which really I feel like I'm trying to broadcast to two different people then. And I like having music on in the background to some degree, from a quality standpoint, because that subtle music you hear in the background hides weird S's and pops from your microphone. It kind of levels everything out, right? It's there as a buffer, right? It's why you put like floor molding in your house. It hides that seam between the carpet and the wall, so it's not so ugly, right? You're literally just covering that up a little bit with something that looks shiny. That's really what the music is for. So, but here's the deal: that extension, I went and looked, it's been around for a long time. That is not a way for Amazon to funnel you into their service. I read one report that said something like 80% of American households have Amazon Prime. They are not trying to pick away at that last 20%. Because here's the thing: if there's a household without Amazon Prime, I'm going to bet they're also not on Twitch. They also don't have a television or a computer or the internet. So you're talking about a very different group of individuals. They're a different market. So I don't think that's what this is for. So just like I said, it's been around for a long time. It's not the first time it's gone through. We've ignored it because the record labels left us alone. Somebody brought up a really good point the other day that once people start to see how much money streamers make, i.e. Ninja, i.e. Shroud, these guys are getting pulled away for other platforms, and the dollar amounts tied to that, I think the record labels turn around and go, wait a minute, somebody's making a boatload of money and they're not paying us our part. I think that was more the catalyst for this. And I've seen some things. If you guys watch Marcus, DJ Wheat, he's a huge staple on Twitch. He works for Twitch. He's been in the online broadcasting since I think like 98 or 94, something, like with internet radio, like the first time broadcasting anything. He's been around forever, so he's dealt with this quite a bit. He said this was like one of the biggest waves that have come through that he's ever seen. So it was out of the blue, but also shouldn't have been a surprise. You know what I mean? As streaming gets bigger, as streamers get bigger, as the music comes in, or I'm sorry, the money comes in, everybody that has a part in that is going to want their cut. So just, you know, that's kind of how this is going to play out. As this gets more mainstream, more people are going to look to see what we're using to take advantage of. Like, don't be surprised if like even like the GIFs and stuff people use as alerts eventually start getting copyright striked.
That'd be a little ridiculous.
I think so too, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised.
I could see it. I can see them going down that rabbit hole. Just in regards to the whole DMCA stuff, it's the record labels grasping for anything because they know the way their business model is set up. You know, it's not the same with all the streaming services out there and whatnot. People aren't buying CDs anymore. People aren't buying MP3s anymore. You know, it's all streaming service. I don't know the way the whole industry's set up as far as how bands make money from people like listening to Spotify and stuff like that. You know, I have a friend who has a band and they have stuff on Spotify, and I asked him like, how do you guys make money off of that? And he's like, we don't. You know, we have to sell merch at shows in order to make any sort of money. I'm sure with like the big labels, like the big bands and whatnot, that you get millions of listens to, you know, I'm sure there's some sort of like deal there. But it just seems like the way this whole thing went down, it was just like, hey, we need to be relevant. Let's do this. It just sucks. It does suck for us as streamers. You know, it's a staple and people use music to, you know, unwind, express themselves. You know, there's people like to show off different stuff that they like, you know, and share it with other people. You know, it was just another avenue for us to interact with our viewers. And now that's part of that is taken away. A lot of that stuff is like a big staple for our streams.
Yeah. So it makes it a little bit tough. One of the differences that I talked about with somebody for a while, because DMCA has been bigger on YouTube for a long time. Yeah. Right? It's been much bigger on there. But the reason we don't hear about it as much is YouTubers, for the most part, I feel like are more compliant. And if they're not, instead of that YouTuber being banned off the platform, their other option is the rights holder, when they file a claim, can then monetize that video themselves. So you as the content creator would no longer get the money from that video. That would instead go to the rights holder. So on Twitch, we don't have that ability, right? I'm sure they could come up with some way to demonetize your stream, and any bits and subs would then get funneled to the rights holder. But we play by different rules. We work off donations as well. If somebody throws me $100 in PayPal, there's no way for that rights holder to collect on that, you know what I mean, other than sending me a bill. So instead of dealing with that directly, what they do is they tell Twitch, hey, this guy's breaking our rules, get rid of him, right? And Twitch, as a safe harbor rule, that's why they allow this 3 strikes. So if you get 3 strikes against you for copyright infringement, they go ahead and then they suspend you, because they have no choice. If they continue to allow you to break this, it's a law. If they continue to allow you to break the law, they lose their safe harbor status, and then they are financially liable, and then the record label can sue them directly. They're not going to cut their Twitch and Amazon are not going to lose money because you want to play fucking In Sync, you know, or whatever, you know, I get it. I'm down with it, dude. I'll listen to it all day, but it's all about money. In the end, it all comes down to money, and Twitch doesn't have the kit with how 3 million streamers a month. They cannot go, well, I guess we got to pay up for all of them. That's not happening. Not happening. So it's all a money thing. So I mean, but there are options for you as content creators. There are options you can use. Some are free, some you pay for. I pay for a license every year. I'm debating keeping it because I just don't use it often enough. There's some really good stuff, but it's kind of more geared for YouTube. For the Twitch side of it, I'm not really jiving with a lot of it. Some of it's really good, but some of it is just tough to find.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options out there. You've seen tons of people posting stuff. There's been plenty of options. I mean, you got Harris Heller, who came out with his Stream Beat stuff. He personally went out. It almost seemed like he saw this coming. So it was just perfect timing.
But yeah,
you know, he unleashed this whole Stream Beats playlist where it's all copyright free. You can use it for videos, whatever you want. You don't have to pay a dime. You can use it freely.
It's playing right now.
I can't hear it. But
no, you can't. Yeah, in the stream, you can hear it right now. It's playing right now.
Yeah. So he's got a bunch of stuff that's all lo-fi, and I know he's working on some other genres. So I mean, kudos to him. He's given us this, a bunch of music that we can use if we wanted to. There's other companies like Pretzel Rock where you can do a premium service you want, or it's free. Monster Cat is free. You got Epidemic Sound, which is like $15 a month. They have a ton of stuff on there, and it's all stuff you can use freely for whatever you want. So I mean, there's tons of options out there. If you're a streamer and you like having music, you just got to go find it. It's going to take some time to probably build up a playlist of stuff that you enjoy. I know the couple streams I did this week, the stuff I listened to that's copyright free, 90% of it was like, this is trash. It's copyright free for a reason, I guess. It's just people having fun and, probably just tooling around and just want to make music, but a lot of it is not to my liking. I'm so used to what I like to listen to, my bands that I favor, that I enjoy. So it's just going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, some of them, just make sure when you go out to use these, you read the rules to go along with them. So it's copyright free, or you're going to pay for a license, but there's rules that go along with that, right? So say you decide to go Pretzel Rock and you go with the free version, because you can get the free one or pay $5 for their premium version. The rule is, if you use their free version, you have to link your Twitch account and mod Pretzel Rock in your chat. So, and all they're going to do is say what song's playing, right? That's it. It's nothing, outrageous. They're not taking over your chat or anything. But when a new song comes on, they play that to highlight the artist, right? That's how they're making their money. If you pay the $5 for one, you can get rid of that. You no longer have to have it in the chat. I use another site called Artlist. The license is expensive though. It's $200 for the year. But that gives me a much wider library of not just like music to hear on stream, but certain, like a lot of the songs will have like a lyric version and an instrumental version, or I can sort it by like cinematic or dramatic or action. So if you're doing a YouTube video, something like that, you can grab that, go, I need something with this kind of feeling. You can just type in a feeling, to give you music that kind of correlates to that. So there's tools out there. Some of them are expensive, but also keep in mind, these are licenses that you're going to pay for. That is a direct tax write-off as a streamer. There's a section when you're filling out your taxes for, especially a sole proprietorship or an LLC, that lists licenses. These are licenses you're paying for. That goes in that block. So don't forget about that. Yes, 100% a tax write-off. Do not forget about that. It's not going to save you a ton. All it's going to do is cut down on your high end. So if you're in the green that year, it's going to take up, say you made $5,000 as a streamer and you pay $800 in certain licenses, which your video games are licenses as well, by the way. As long as you play it on stream, it counts as a business expense. That is a license. You are now licensed to play that game. That's what, you don't own shit. You own a copy. You own a license of that game. That's what a license is. So say you make $5,000 as a streamer and you pay $800 that year between all your licenses, you now only made $4,200 by using that write-off. Yeah, there's a copyright free playlist on Spotify. Harris Tellers is on Spotify and everything else. And Spotify has their own also royalty free playlist as well. I listened to a little bit earlier. It's not bad. It wasn't too bad. I don't know. It all depends what you're in the mood for. If that's your style, right? Like lo-fi is it seems like if you're in lo-fi or like some synth stuff, you're good to go. But if you like anything else, it's tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, with all this stuff coming down, we know DMCA is so outdated and archaic. The whole verbiage and rules behind it. This is stuff that was, implemented into law before the turn of the millennium. So
yeah,
they hopefully this kind of stuff sparks. I know there's a lot of crap going on in the world right now, and this is probably low on the list of stuff that people need to pay attention to. But I feel like people need to go and revisit this. They need to update it because Twitch wasn't around, YouTube wasn't around, TikTok wasn't around. All these social media services, content creating companies weren't around when this stuff was written. So hopefully there's some change that comes to it eventually. I don't know when, who knows. But yeah. I was talking to Kay offline too. Hopefully, instead of the record labels trying to just strip us of listening to music on stream, there's some sort of licensing agreement that they can come to terms with Spotify, Pandora, stuff like that, where, you know, I feel like they would make so much more money if they offered some sort of licensing agreement to where we can pay $20 a month, whatever, just throwing a number out there, to where we can listen to this like group of artists and we won't get DMCA for it. You know, I think that's a better path for them to go down. They'd probably make a hell of a lot more money going that route instead of just saying, screw you guys, you can't listen to this.
Yeah, that's what I hope for too. I want to see more, almost like the Netflix of music to start rolling out. Like, I already pay for Spotify Premium. I don't know, it's $5-10 a month, $8. So I don't know, I have no idea what it is. Been paying for it for so long, it's just a living expense now. But say that, you know, that jumps to $25-30 a month, but I can now commercially use these artists, this music, for streaming only, right? YouTube's going to be different because that's a different, for some reason they treat VODs differently. That's why they attacked VODs first. It was easier for them to track down, but videos stored on the internet are different than live broadcast. They have some slightly different rules attached to them, but the DMCA rules still apply to both. It's just easier to attack the VODs because they're static, right? They're stationary. But certain licenses only work on one. Certain ones you can use live, certain ones you can use in a VOD, which is YouTube. So keep that in mind too. But I would like to see, like, even if for streaming only, right? Even if I have to, you know, mute the VOD or whatever afterwards, I would like to see it, or at least maybe like a content creator license. You know what I mean? There needs to be, I feel like, some different verbiage created for this industry. I mean, said this hasn't been around that long, you know what I mean? Not, especially not in the mainstream. It's only been mainstream for I don't know, what, 3-4 years, I feel like. Before anybody really picked up on it, and it wasn't, you weren't a complete nerd for knowing what it was, let alone being on it, or worse, watching it. Like, it was, you know what I mean? Like, that was the tier. Like, you know what it was? Like, oh, you're kind of a nerd, why do you even know that? If you're on it, like, well, you're definitely a nerd because you're on here doing it. But it was worse if you just watched it. Like, so wait, you just watch these guys? Now it's normal, right? Now we've normalized streaming. So I think we'll get a lot more changes in the future once people see they can make money on it. Like I said, Amazon, Twitch has their own version, the Amazon Music extension now. If they could expand that to an actual playlist that I could then just play, I would get rid of Spotify and just use Amazon Music instead.
Yep. 100%. It's just, everything's so archaic. Like you said, this is all new. This is all uncharted territory for the most part, you know, but this whole industry is growing so fast and so many people are getting involved with it. So many people are streaming. So many people are doing YouTube videos. The rest of the world almost needs to catch up. There's so much opportunity for these record labels to, you know, make everybody happy, make the consumers happy. You know, a lot of people, like, you see it on Twitter all the time, well, we're playing their music for free, we're giving them free advertising. It doesn't work that way. You know, it's, you know, they're trying to make money just like we are as streamers, essentially. You know, everybody's in it for the dollar. If they can just stop being so narrow-minded and just give us some sort of other avenue to go down to where we can continue to, you know, listening to the stuff we enjoy, it'd be huge, you know. Right. Another thing too is we've been seeing people on Twitter as well. We saw Nick Merckx, you know, just flat out asked Drake, hey, can I listen to your music on stream? And Drake gave him permission, you know. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to work out for everybody. I don't know if even Drake, like, I don't know Drake's record label situation, if he's got his own thing going on or if he's under one of the big umbrellas. But, you know, I've seen a lot of people just shooting their shot on Twitter, like, hey, so-and-so, can I listen to your stuff on my stream? You know, is it okay? Do I have your permission? I don't know if that's a viable way to go down. You might get their permission, but if they don't exclusively own the rights to that song, you could probably still get copy stricken. So kind of beware if you guys go down that route. You know, I put a poll out the other day too. Just 3 questions. You're going to, with all the DMCA stuff, what are you going to do? Are you going to not play music anymore? Are you going to play copyright free? Or you're just going to say, screw it, I'm going to listen to what I've been doing and just hope for the best. You know, I'm calling, you know, shenanigans on this, that I'm not going to get suspended. So. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a risk too. Like you said, it was VODs, so a lot of people went back and they deleted all their VODs and clips, myself included. I have a very naked channel now. It's weird. But from what I understand from listening to Marcus,
to DJ Wheat is that I think Sony has the capability now. They developed this software to literally track every live stream and listen in on it, and they're going to start issuing DMCA strikes on live streams. Or you know what I mean, like catch it live, not wait for a VOD. So even if you delete your VOD, you're not going to be safe anymore. So they're going to catch this stuff live and then start issuing strikes that way. So bottom line, know that this is a thing, right? If you choose to ignore it, like all of us did, you run the risk of getting these strikes and then you know, eventually a ban. So just be aware. Like, and if that happens, you cannot blame anybody but yourself, right? This was kind of like the warning shot for everybody. So, and it could go away. Who knows? In 6 months, we might all be listening to whatever the hell we want again, and the record label's backed off, and no one cares because DMCA is a thing in the past again, right? It happened last time. Yeah, it happened last time. Everybody kind of backed off for a little while, then after like a month, they're like, they're not still watching, right? Like, we can do this again. That's exactly what happened. Like, we all like kind of crapped out, like, I'm going for it. Let me see if I can do it. And then this happens again, but you never know when it's going to go out and stick, right? So just be aware. A lot of people will do it and they'll have no issues at all, but I mean, you could be the one guy that gets, you know, perma banned for this. I don't think it goes that intense. It might just be a 3 or 7 day ban or whatever. But I don't know. But just bear in mind that this is going to be your choice, like everything else. So the consequences are all yours, right? Can't blame anybody else. You can't blame Twitch. Can't even blame. I mean, you can't even blame the record label, to be honest. Like, they're just protecting their assets the same as you would if you were in their situation. Maybe not the same way, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you can go down the path, kind of getting off topic a little bit, but you know, you see these YouTube videos where it's clip compilations. You know, somebody else is, you know, riding the coattails of other streamers' success. You know, and they're making these compilation videos of these funny clips. They don't always go out and ask the streamer, hey, is it okay if I do this? You know, they just do it.
Right.
You know, I remember watching Tim the Tatman one time where he had found out there was a YouTube channel that was pretty much it was just clips of him. It was just funny clips of him. They made these compilations and did their own thing with it. And that YouTube channel was making bank. And I remember Tim was like, wait, what? How much are you making off of this? And like I don't know what ended up happening with it. I'm sure he had to take care of it off a stream, but it was just, it's the same way, you know, if you got to look at it their point of view, just playing devil's advocate, that, you know, if your stuff was being used without your permission, how would you feel? Right.
You know, a lot of it's going to go from scope too. Like, so unless you're Ninja, Tim the Tatman, Lupo, you know, all these guys, Nick Merckx, honestly, unless you're pulling in 15, 20, 30,000 average viewers, they're going to view it as you benefiting from the music you're playing, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 6 months we see some band, you know, sign Tim the Tatman and go, yo, play our album for a week straight, right? And the tables turn a little bit because now they're going to get more exposure from that music than you get from playing that type of music, right? So it's all about scope. Wherever you are on that balance beam, right, the other side wins, right? If you know, until you're bigger, right, until you're heavier and everything flows to you. That's how it is. It's all seesaw, right? If you're the little guy, right, and the big evil company's down here, you fall in their lap. You owe them everything. Other way around, if you get bigger than them and they can gain from you, they fall into your lap. I think it's a fair analogy. That worked.
I get it.
Yeah, I got it.
You got anything else you want to talk about on that subject?
No, I'm sick of it. I'm so over DMCA. Just don't do dumb stuff, and if you do, don't bitch about it. That's it.